Okay, we are going to record another video. I want to tell you a little bit about things I do. My name's Tom. I'm going to be giving you videos of Bible stuff and funny stuff, and I'm just going to be talking to you because I think it is fun. This is new technology, not new, but it's new for me to really start putting content out, and I feel like it is a good time to put content out. What I'm going to do is give you a little explanation of this. This is the lesson I'm going to do for youth group. And you can see that little guy right there in his little heart. You can see his little heart here. Look how happy he is. He's waving to you. So you want to find out stuff like this. If you can't make the youth group lesson tonight, if you can't make it a youth group, then please look at this video, like and subscribe. You'll never have to miss youth group again. What I want to talk about, we've been talking about, and I say things that are maybe a little shocking sometimes because I will tell the parents tonight we're going to hell. And that's where I'm going to go with the youth group, and we're going to go to hell. And I say things just to kind of pique curiosity. I say things that I want to be. This isn't a normal thing to do. When you come to youth group, you're there to get out of your normal routine. You're there to try and learn something about love and about the realities, the underlying realities of the world. And it's not a science class, but I like to delve into science. I like to delve into everything that we all have to wrestle with. We have to wrestle with everything about life. So right now, I'm going to tell you we're going to heaven. We're going to go to the whole thing from heaven all the way down to hell. We're going to go in between. I'm going to give you three kind of views, and what I want to tell you is there is a material view, a scientific view of what we are in here when we're human, when we're experiencing different things. That view is quite vast, and we're still wrestling with what it all means. We're still wrestling with hard problems of consciousness. What in the world's going on in here? Not just me, but in you, because you have things going on and you think you can understand kind of what's going on with me, but there is something very weird about consciousness. There are actually problems with understanding how we can be conscious entities walking around the world. It's very peculiar, and it's very delightful for us. But there's all kinds of problems with understanding it. And when people say they understand the world, they're saying they have some view that they live in that they're comfortable with, but honestly, nobody understands any of it. I'm talking to you, Mr. I know what's going on guy. I don't know if you're an atheist or not, but whatever you are, if you're telling people that you know what's going on, you're like all the rest of us. You gather as much information as you can in order to live successfully in the world, and ultimately, almost everything that there ever was or is completely a mystery to us. So what we do understand, though, that what the materialist view is that there's this infinite universe. And I was on a website called Scale of Universe. Scale of Universe, if you look that up, you can get on and go on this little slider, and it shows the scale of the universe. It starts out with this picture of a little stick man, and he's this big, and next to him is like an elephant who's actually to the side of the elephant's leg. Same with a giraffe. It shows, and what it has is a little slider, and if you slide one way, it'll expand out, and you'll start seeing a bigger view of the earth. So it'll go to a blue whale, and it'll scale up. It'll show you the pyramids, and then it'll show you the Great Wall of China and the Grand Canyon, and it'll scale out, and then all of a sudden you're looking at the earth, and then all of a sudden it'll scale out, and then you're looking at some of the bigger stars, maybe the sun. It continues to scale out, and it goes further and further. As you move this slider over, it goes further and further, and all of a sudden you're looking at galaxies, and then you're looking at nebula, and you're looking at what eventually becomes the entire visible universe. What we think is the visible universe, and then it shows this ring of what we think is the actual universe, and then it shows static all around, because ultimately we know nothing about what's outside this, and we say the visible universe, and it's this ridiculously large thing that is just a wild story, and we know virtually nothing about it, because every time we discover something, we're like, finally, eureka, I found it and I understand what the universe is made of or whatever. And then it turns out, well, we didn't actually know after all. And it's all dark matter and dark energy. And we actually know only 5% of what there actually is. And the rest is a complete mystery behind the curtain. Well, it turns out that almost everything is behind the curtain. And it's always been behind the curtain. And we always just go as far as we can into this unknown. And we take a good look around and we document it. But we don't understand it. We just document it and say, hey, I found a nebula and it's this big. And if you squeeze it, it's like a slow rise squish. If you squeeze it and let it go, it doesn't just poof out like a fast squish. It goes nice and slow. So we discover what nebula are. We grab them, we squeeze them a little bit. And we tell others, hey, I found a nebula. I think it's made of an exploding star. And it's all this space dust and shaped like an eyeball, shaped right like that. So, and that is really the truth about some general layman's understanding about science. And when an expert tells you about science, they're going to tell you the things they know, and it's going to sound like just a vast understanding. But honestly, on the true scale of the universe, when you look at the biggest things that there are, and you look at all the knowledge that this genius guy who knows everything has, and then, the scale is infinite, and the knowledge is so vast, what they know is like, it's the tiniest Planck length. You can't even squeeze your fingers, and you next to them are like half a Planck length. And the amount that they have distanced themselves in knowledge compared to you on the real scale of things is insignificant. We're all walking around kind of in the dark. We're blind leading blind. So that's the scale, the big size. If you slide the slider the other way, it goes into this infinite things, and we get into these, all of a sudden it's a man, then it's a, the human hair, and then it's a particle, it's a bacteria, and it keeps going down and down. It gets into atoms, and it gets into subatomic particles, quarks, and it keeps going down and down and down, and eventually it gets to this quantum foam. And there's this quantum foam, and there shows a little tiny thing about this big, and it's the Planck length, and it's the smallest length of measurement that we have, and it's this wide. And they don't tell you that what a half Planck is. And if you do a Planck, if you go out in the backyard and I see you planking, I will give you $10. So there you go. The Planck length is how much it is from your head to your toes when you're planking. No, it's this tiny length that's so small, it's just imagined. So there's this imagined smallness, this vaguely understood giant infinity, and it really goes infinite either way. It goes infinite either way. We're in this weird middle space. It's like Middle Earth. So that's kind of the scientific view. What is going on here with humans who are just in the middle, and we get to figure out everything and say what everything is. Well, the Bible view is similar. It's got at the very tippy top the greatest expanse. It's the heavens. It's all things, and it's where God is in some kind of other world. It's some kind of greater than we can imagine, glorious place where God resides. But God doesn't reside in a place. He doesn't need a house. He's not like a person. God is a transcendent being. It's something that we don't understand. But everything that we do understand seems to be supported on something that we don't understand. So heaven is this great lofty place. Earth in the middle is right where we live, and it's the same thing, this great glorious infinity above. This earth, this regular place where actually humans are standing, smiling, and waving on earth. And then there's this below world, which I'm going to call hell and the grave, Hades, death. It's down at the bottom. It's so there's this, again, this giant column, and even humans are like that. We're this infinity above, we're this infinity below, and our hearts are right in the middle. Humans are like that. Our heads are like this great space where you can see all the actions of the world can be contained in there, and we can think about this universal understanding, and we can stick giant things in our head, and it's like the TARDIS on Doctor Who. It's bigger on the inside. It's It's where the theater of the mind can play out great tales and see great wonders, and we can contain them in our head, way bigger on the inside. And our hearts, though, are kind of tied to earth. We really want to connect to something real. Our hearts want to find love and truth, and we want to find friendship, and we want to find food, because I'm getting a little hungry right now, and I have an appointment to eat in about, I think I have to leave in like 15 minutes to eat, because I am connected to the earth. That's where my heart is kind of in this earthly place. And then our feet are kind of this hellish place where we're always stepping on dog poop or stepping in the decaying part of the world. So even humans have this hierarchy of the things that we think are the most beautiful things above in our heads and in the heavens. And then and our feet of clay, feet that are vulnerable, feet that are touching dust and dirt and the decay of the world, and things that don't last. And our hearts, we long to stretch to what is true and eternal, and even long for to be the image of God, this beautiful thing that's been brought into the earth. We long for that, and we dream of things that are wonderful, and we see beauty, and it's up heavenward. But our hearts tend to reach for things that we like we have our phones, and we have our friends, and we have food, all the things of the earth, friends, phones, and food. See, was just a little whatever. And then we also are standing in the dust and the dirt, the things we know that there's something below us that is scary, and the end, it's destruction, it's death, it's where all life ends up on the ground and dissolving into it, and Hades or hell or the grave is this unknown below us, that we long to fly away. I'll fly away to glory. And then there's the world. This is the other way we view the world, and it's a very humanistic view, and it's where we put ourselves as the most important thing in the world, and it's this desire, and it's another kind of spiritual battle. I'm not talking about the physical world. I'm not talking about heaven and hell. I'm talking about the world that is our heart, in essence, and our hearts long to be the center of power. So when we make ourselves like the God, when we make ourselves into the heavenly being, it kind of inverts everything, because we know that we're not quite, we know that we're not perfect, and everyone understands nobody's perfect. And even though we love what humans are, we see that if we call ourselves God, if we eliminate God and make ourselves God, then things aren't right, because we know that we're not good enough to be God, but we're the best thing we know that we can see in the material world. But when we do that, we invert things, and we end up making our whatever we say is right. And the idea goes back to like the Garden of Eden. What we did when we rejected God was we said, I'll determine what's right, and we made ourselves the highest authority. And the problem with that is when you're the highest authority and your neighbor is the highest authority, and there's something that you both want, there has to be some kind of agreement. You can't both be the highest authority. And it is the human condition that we're always battling and fighting each other. And all we can do to express our authority is either crush somebody, take something from them, put them down below you, or let them rise above you. And there's this constant battle for king of the hill, who's going to be on top. And the human condition is that we're always fighting, because if everyone gets to say what they think is right, if everyone gets to live out, I'll decide what's right, then it's a constant battle. And that can't work. There has to be an authority above where everyone says, I'll submit to what's truly right. And the world of our hearts, where we are the God, is a world of death and destruction, because we have no true power to prove what's truly right. We have no power to enforce what's truly right. and we're caught in that system. So that's a little bit of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about things like this, so the worship connection, because we all worship. What happens in our lives is we all decide what is worthy and what is unworthy, and that's that idea. If we're God, we're going to raise some things up, we're going to lower some things, and we're always judging and saying what's worthy and what's unworthy. What happens then is we decide if we're going to orbit around something, which would be what is true or what is godlike, the thing that should be our authority. If we're going to orbit around something, or if everything's going to orbit around us, and then humans have to cater to you. All the things that you want should be drawn towards you. All the things that you hate and reject, people that you hate, you push out into some hellish place far from you, because if you're God, if you're in the center, then heaven is pleasing you. Everything has to be pleasing to you. And if it's not pleasing to you, you can reject it, and you can banish it to hell, banish it to the grave, banish it out of your sight. It is not worthy to be around you. So what are the things that you orbit around? What are the things that orbit around you? Ultimately, what is your heart set on? Because where your treasure is, there your heart will be. There's a Bible verse that says the things that you treasure, that's what you're going to chase. And if you treasure things like, if you treasure God, then it's this reaching for love. God is love. It's the thing where you put yourself in an orbit rather than being the things that everything orbits around, that you're God. You say, I'll find what's best and I'll orbit around that. It's a life-changing thing. So what do you orbit around? What orbits around you? What is your heart set on? What is your treasure? If God is the center, then everything is His, and you will give what is precious to you to Him. You'll give Him love, affection, attention. You'll be willing to sacrifice. This is the call of Jesus. He's calling for us to make Him the center, that we can orbit around God and be giving of goodness to Him and receiving the gifts that He gives back to us. It's something that we really can't break out of. Even when we put ourselves in the center, it's a kingdom of destruction. You have no real power to give life. The power that we have is the gift of death, and it's a very tragic thing that the power that we have is the power of death, and we have really no power of life. So we've got to put something in the center that is the power of life. That's the end of this video right now. Youth group is going to kind of center around that discussion this week, so hopefully I'll see you there. Like and subscribe. I'm going to continue negotiating with Jesus, and we'll try and give as many videos as we can, a lot of content. I'll talk to you later. Bye.